And we're back, and we just finished watching 2003's Big Fish, rated PG-13, with a runtime of 2 hours and 5 minutes. It's directed by Tim Burton and comes from a novel, Big Fish, a novel of mythic proportions by Daniel Wallace, screenplay by John August. This is, without a doubt, my favorite Tim Burton movie, and I think you gave the perfect description when you said...
It's like the least Tim Burton movie that he ever made.
Yes.
Which is, I think at that point, when it first came out, it was kind of refreshing because up until that, it was like we were reaching like peak Tim Burton and everything he did. It was like at some point, every single character was going to have a lot of mascara and striped leotards on. And the buildings too.
But still rooted in the visuals of Tim Burton. Like when you see this movie, you can sort of see a Tim Burton-esque element to it. It's not overpowering like it is in other movies of his, but I think that there's still things that point to that this is a Tim Burton film.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go around the table and get impressions. Olive G, what did you think about this movie?
Was Jumbo a Tim Burton movie?
Yes, Dumbo.
Dumbo.
Okay, I'm just asking that out of blue.
Dumbo. I don't know if you've ever seen Edward Scissorhands. I know you've seen
I've seen
pieces of it.
You've seen Beetlejuice, right?
You've seen Beetlejuice.
Some
of Beetlejuice.
You probably weren't paying attention.
I wasn't paying attention that much.
Probably, yeah. That's too bad. Those are all excellent movies. We should watch Pee-wee's Big Adventure with them. That's like one of my other favorite movies of this guy.
And also, the only scene I saw was these women being weirdos while this guy cut their hair.
Oh,
yes,
that's
Edward Scissorhands. Yeah.
What the hell is going on?
He was cutting their hair.
Yeah.
Anyway, getting back to this movie, what did you think about it?
I thought it was good.
Yeah, did you have a favorite scene?
I kept on mentioning this while we were watching it, but my favorite scene was when that guy dies on the
toilet. Yes, you did keep mentioning it during the...
I thought your favorite scene would be when the baby comes shooting out of that woman.
Yeah, that was also another one of my favorite scenes.
That was ridiculous. Well, I think that's the great thing about this movie. It's like, because it feels Tim Burton without being Tim Burton. I think it's so rooted. Some of it is so rooted in an absurdity that it's like that, like the baby shooting out and flying down the hallway.
Yeah, the doctor didn't even catch the baby. He didn't close the door.
It carries his sense of humor, but he toned down his visual style. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
What about you, Jake?
My favorite. I like this movie.
Okay. Do you have a favorite scene?
My favorite scene happened right after Olivia's when that kid says, "I wasn't old at all."
That was funny. One of the Price brothers. I will out myself and say that you and I actually saw this in the movie theater, and when we saw it, I was a colossal weeping mess at the end of this film.
Yeah, I remember leaving the theater, and we were like in the theater on the top floor of the building, and there was like 3 escalator rides to get to the main lobby, and we had to get off
at least 3 times.
halfway through and just
give me a second.
Give you about 5 minutes to collect yourself because you were uncontrollably weeping.
This movie impacted me a lot. I mean, as someone who had a very just precarious relationship with their father, especially I guess at that point, it just it really hit to home, and just thoughts about mortality and acceptance and also forgiveness. I think that was a lot. And I just, even now watching it, this is not a movie that I watch very often, even though I really, really do like it, but it just conjures up a lot of emotions for me. So this is why I usually stay away from it. And of course, on today's viewing, I cried as well, but obviously not as badly as the first time we saw it, where we literally, I mean, I was crying outside the theater, inside the theater. Yeah, I was a wreck. But still, still have that real white hot rage, passionate hate for Billy Crudup.
Yeah, I mean, throughout the film, his character, I wouldn't carry white hot rage for it, but it was kind of unlikable in the fact that you just, like, at least for me, I couldn't understand why he was such a stick in the mud about the way his father was. I mean, his father was a storyteller, but it's...
Mom, you, sorry to interrupt, but...
It's okay.
Mom, you said you were going to explain why you hated the son in that one scene.
Because, wait, refresh my memory. What scene were we talking about?
The one where,
well, he's talking to the dad, like the wife and the mother left in the bed, right? So the reason that scene in particular made me dislike him only because he kind of like what your dad was going to start saying, which was his inflexibility to accept his father for who he was. He fought it, and he was doing it under the guise of like, I'm trying to articulate this. I guess he felt like his father was a fraud, that his father was feeding all these stories, these tall tales that never happened. And in some ways,
of them kind of did.
And in some ways, maybe they didn't happen the way he told the stories, but they were all rooted in reality.
Yeah, there was a grain of truth to everything he said. But it was like when he was talking with the doctor.
Yes.
And he's like, you want to hear the real story of how you were born? Your mother came in, she was a week early, and it was a perfect delivery. And he wasn't there, but it really wouldn't have mattered anyway because
at that time
men weren't allowed in the birthing room anyway. And so he's like, me personally, I prefer the story with the fish
and the ring.
And the ring, which is a great polished story that the father would tell time and time again. And it's a lovely story. And it's way more interesting than, oh, my kid was born and that's it.
Yes.
Nobody's going to remember that.
Right. But this epic battle between Edward Bloom and this magical fish.
Yeah.
And how he tried to get his wedding ring back.
Yeah, that's a lovely story.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, but when they actually showed it, like, he grabbed the fish and just choked up the wedding ring.
He's like, give me my ring back.
Right. And the fish, but he was nice enough to say thank you because of that southern manners.
Mm-hmm.
But so that was why I disliked this character so immensely, because it was like everybody makes mistakes. I mean, as parents, you kids don't come with any kind of guidebooks or instructions, and we're human and we make mistakes and we're just trying to do the best that we can. And I think as the son got older, he just could not look past certain things, and he was very inflexible and unforgiving. And even his wife was like, what is wrong with you?
What's the big deal?
What is the big deal? Who cares? He's a storyteller.
The story, like when she's like in bed with him and she's like, I didn't know that all that went on with how your parents met.
Yeah.
And he's just like, they met at college.
Right.
And she's like, I like his story better.
Better, right.
Because
it's fun.
It's way more interesting and exciting. And there was little kernels of truth in there. I mean, maybe it didn't happen that way. Maybe he wasn't in the hospital for a week and,
Yeah, I don't think that the circus guy was a werewolf or a dog.
Yeah, I doubt the ringleader of the circus was a werewolf. The giant wasn't as big as he was in the stories. If you noticed over the course of the film, he actually got smaller. I doubt he planted an entire field of daffodils.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sure he brought a bouquet.
Yes.
He said that he has to get 5 countries or something.
Yeah, he's got all the people, all the places that had daffodils from 5 counties all around them.
Yeah, so that's why I disliked the son so much, because it was like, for people who don't have that great a relationship with their parent, having a father like Edward Bloom would have been just amazing.
Yeah, just and it was he was never really abusive. I mean, he may not have been there as much as he would have liked,
Right.
but
He was this larger than life character,
he made the most of it that he had.
Exactly. So
And I think at the end, the son got it.
Finally,
He finally got it. It's like right on the deathbed. He's like, the father's just like, tell me
how this ends.
tell me how it ends.
Yeah. So, but that's why I didn't like the son very much, and why I continued to dislike the son.
But he got it at the end. He
Whatever.
got it, and at the end, he had an amazing death, rather than he died quietly in his hospital bed. That's not how he died. That's not what he saw in the witch's eye.
Yeah. And I love that the father validated his story. It was like that. That's right. That's exactly what I saw in the eye.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love this movie. It is not something that I want to see all the time. Much like Life is Beautiful, another story that just completely annihilates me.
When did I get to watch?
Which you will one day watch from start to finish. I
I
promise.
thought you said she could watch it this summer.
She could watch it this summer. She's old enough. It's just I probably won't. You're probably gonna be sitting with your daddy. I don't think I can sit through that movie from start to finish.
I enjoyed that. Well,
I love that movie, but yeah,
it's not like I was
not
like
a word.
slapping my knee laughing throughout.
No.
was-
But
Like Time Bandits.
Time Bandits is
Bandits,
great. Yeah,
yeah, that's
I
great.
would say Life is Beautiful is the one film that made me cry in a movie theater.
Yeah, that's for my own sanity, to protect my own spirit. There comes a point in that movie where I have to walk away from it because it destroys me. Mm-hmm. I can watch up to a certain point, and then after that, I can't anymore. And I don't have that with this, but this movie wrecks me in a completely different way, just because I think this is the first film that I saw that I really understood, or it really impressed upon me the whole notion of mortality and how eventually we all pass and what is our legacy.
Yeah.
And I think that because of those bigger questions, this movie always made such an impression on me to this day. I mean, again, I love this movie. I think this is Tim Burton's opus, but I do not seek it. But in anticipation of Father's Day, I wanted to watch this with you guys because I think it's a lovely story about fathers and sons, but also, I mean, it could be about mothers and daughters and fathers, sons and mothers. So there's a universalness to this particular story.
Yeah. All right, so what would you give this movie?
I would give this a 9.
I'll give this an 8. 8.25.
What about you, Olive J?
I'd give it a 7.8.
7.8.
It's an interesting number. Yeah. I'd say 8.5, 9.
8.5, 9. If you haven't seen it, I highly, highly recommend it. It is beautiful storytelling. I've not read the book. I probably would make me cry, so I'm probably going to shy away from it. But as far as amazing set pieces and costuming and just storytelling and fantastic acting, I watched
Everybody
this.
did a good job.
Everyone does such a great job.
I liked Ewan McGregor's take on young Bloom.
Yes,
because you could be like, oh, that he's like really cheesing it up with that smile, but it fits with the character. He's like that guy. He's the hero of a tall tale, and a hero of a tall tale does exactly what that character does. Big smile, fists on hips, looking around like, yes, king of the world.
The only thing missing was like the ting,
yeah,
like the
little gleam off the teeth.
Yes, that's the only thing that was missing. But yeah, I completely agree. Another thing, not to get off on a tangent, but we'd seen Drag Me to Hell, which Alison Lohman is in, and I've always wondered like why she's not in more stuff. She is absolutely.
She's good in it.
She is really good to watch.
She doesn't really have much.
She doesn't, but
Jessica Lange is
oh wow,
excellent.
she is stunning in this. But even Alison Lohman, like, I really like how she becomes this character. She is the heart of the story. The love that Edward has for his wife resonates throughout the whole piece. This is a man who, through determination and hard work, created this lovely life for himself. It wasn't anything spectacular. He didn't cure disease. He didn't end world hunger.
He hated a bank robber.
He hated a bank robber.
He sold weird mechanical hands.
I mean, this is a guy who probably had a very ordinary life that tried to do good by helping this little town that he had passed through many, many, many years ago. And in the process, just wanted to leave a legacy of just how he came into this world and participated, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really great. And whether you embellish it or you say it plainly, I think that everyone contributes. Hopefully everyone contributes. And it's just lovely to see. And just the whole family dynamic. And just, I've always loved this story. I mean, I can't say enough about it. If you haven't seen it, do yourself a favor. Go check it out on HBO Max. It's currently streaming. It's a nice little tall tale that really touches the heartstrings. Excellent top to bottom, start to finish. All the technical aspects that you'd expect covered from a Tim Burton movie with a little bit more heart and a little bit more soul and just loveliness all around.
Yeah.
So I guess that's it from us. We will bid you all good night. And to all those who celebrate, happy Father's Day. Good night.
Good night.
Everyone
Good
celebrates
night.
Father's Day, Mommy.
Not everyone.
Yes, they do. Good night.